If you are sick of feeling unmotivated in post-grad, we're creating your dream life right now. I'm gonna hold your hand while I say this, but the automatic blow up that everyone is expecting in post-grad just isn't coming. When you graduate, you're basically handed your degree and that's it. While you gain experiences and skills through university, you're predominantly learning, and one of the things you're not learning is how to get your dream job, how to get your dream apartment, where you wanna live, what you're gonna do with the rest of your life. That's why post-grad is so essential, because the way you deal with uncertainty is going to affect the decisions you make for the rest of your life. As uncomfortable as post-grad can be, you really have to learn to accept where you are, because if you don't, you will not allow yourself to romanticize it and you will be miserable. Embrace the in-between era, because you're gonna be here for a while and you might as well start enjoying the journey. By the way, my name is Keyena. I graduated from UBC last year, so I've been through post-grad for about a year now, and I feel like I'm finally starting to get my sparkle back. So you can trust me, I've been there, I've done that, and now I'm gonna help you. And if you're feeling behind in life, trust me, everyone is behind one way or another. I was the absolute queen of listening to This Is Me Trying, because I was the girl ahead of the curve and it became a sphere, and it happens to everyone. I was self-employed, which is technically my dream job, but that meant no big girl money right away. That also meant living at home, but it also means that I'm debt free and I don't have to pay rent. There's pros and cons to every situation. So please don't get discouraged, because I have so many tips that are going to help you stay motivated throughout this year and navigate the ups and downs of your post-grad era. One of the biggest questions with post-grad is, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? I was joking around with my friends, but I said, isn't it funny how you finish your degree and then you realize what you really should have studied? And it is not a coincidence that so many people switch paths or change their mind after they graduate, because when you have unstructured time and you're spending a lot more time alone, which yes, we will get into, it gives you so much more clarity on what you want. One of the most important things you realize about your 20s is that there are no rules. You can do anything and everything. You can do whatever you want on your own timeline. I know we just talked about timing, but there is so much pressure to follow the timeline that everyone else is on. But the truth of the situation is everyone is on their own timeline. As much as everyone hates it, you really should try to embrace the uncertainty, especially the unstructured time if you have it, if you haven't found that first post-grad job yet, because that gives you the time to contemplate what you really want. And I don't just mean your dream career, I mean every aspect of your life. What do you want your friendships to look like? What kind of hobbies do you want to have? Obviously, what kind of dream career do you want? Where do you want to live? What is your dream morning routine? What about night routine? Like, you literally get to create your life by design from scratch. I think people struggle with this because it's hard to realize that not everyone is going to believe in or accept what you choose for yourself. But at the end of the day, there are no rules and it is your life. So it is so important to do what is right for you. And if some of you are freaking out because you have no idea what you want to do not worry, because that clarity doesn't come overnight. We're going to go through a few exercises that are going to help you get clarity, but also know that that clarity is going to get clearer and clearer the farther you go into post-grad, and you'll strengthen it even more by not rushing into things, which we will also talk about later. It took me about 6 months into post-grad to really feel like I had clarity and a big picture vision of not only what my dream career was, but what my dream life actually looked like, and what the big picture was. What were the bigger picture goals in the future, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I feel like one part of post-grad I didn't really realize was how little you actually see your friends once you graduate. I think a lot of people go through like a post-grad depression due to loneliness, because not only do you not see your friends, some of your friend groups will literally fall apart, not even intentionally, just because of distance. I know I had a lot of friends that don't live in the city. I feel like my friendships and my social network dissolved a lot when I graduated, because you realize who your real friends are, but you also are separated by distance. And it's actually not as personal as you think. It's just if you don't live in the same place, you're probably not going to talk to the same people every day. And then there's other obligations too. I have friends that are still in school that I barely see because we're just in different eras of life. And listen, we are social butterflies here. I know some of you are probably freaking out because you're like, what do you mean I'm not going to see my friends? Listen, there are some silver linings here and I'm going to share them with you. Having more alone time gives you more clarity. It is so important to get clarity in post-grad because you really want to be making decisions for the best version of you, for the dream life you want to build, but also you want to be authentic to who you are and not be swayed by other people's influence. I feel like this is so common in high school, but I think a lot of people underestimate it in college. I think in college college, there's a lot more pressure to be on good terms with everyone. And so I think you take everyone's opinions that are in your immediate circle, if they're in your clubs, if you work with these people, if these people are in your classes, I feel like you're a little bit more considerate of these people in your life because that's a responsible adult thing to do in college. And you don't realize how other people's opinions affect you. So it can actually be a good thing to be alone because that means that you don't really have anyone to ask. You have to actually ask yourself, and the most important answers will always come from you. I think another great benefit to being a little bit lonely in post-grad is that you don't have to keep up with relationships you've outgrown. All of your friendships can be so genuine and can be completely of your choosing. I personally have not kept up with many friendships that were formed out of convenience, meaning we were friends because we were in the same friend group or we were friends because we were in the same club. Majority of my friends are friends that I have an established one-on-one relationship with. I think a lot of the time we rely on group settings for our friendships, but I think it is so important to nurture your one-on-one relationships, and you have so much more control in who you hang out with in post-grad because you only have so much time for people. You get to choose who gets to be in your world. And remember, you are who you hang out with, so choose intentionally. I think the last reason that being lonely is a good thing, it kind of forces you to get out of your shell and become a social butterfly and really choose the kind of social life you want to have beyond just who your friends are. It allows you to choose who you actually want to spend your time with in terms of friends, family, your partner, co-workers. Maybe you want to network more. Maybe you want to go to events. Maybe you're the kind of person that likes to stay in and have people over and be a host. Or maybe you like to go out. And I think that was something that really surprised me, that when I graduated and I was way less busy, I was way more social than I thought I was. I said yes to everything. And I really encourage that, saying yes to as many things as you can and actually want to go to. Don't just say yes if you don't want to go to something. But I've pushed myself to go to so many different events and experiences, and I've benefited so much from it, even in my career with content creation, but also just personally. I've met some people I never would have met if I didn't just put myself out there. And I've made friends with some of my favorite people in the last year that I can't believe I wasn't doing life with before. And I think that's a super important part of growing up, is realizing that your friendships are going to evolve and change, but also you take an active role in the kind of friendships you have. You have to be the friend that you want to have in order to make those friendships. Believe it or not, you might even want to go back to school. Listen, I don't want to say I hated school, but I was a pretty big complainer and pretty miserable during a lot of school. And I even felt like I couldn't be 100% myself because I was just so involved in school and I was so invested in it, and it took so much time and energy. I didn't have really anything left to give. And even I was thinking about going back to school pretty quickly after graduating because the uncertainty you face in post-grad can be so affronting. And it's not that it's not still something I might do, but I'm not rushing in to make that decision anymore because I want to be extremely certain that I'm going back for the right reasons and I'm not just doing it to fill this uncomfortableness and rush into the next era because I haven't figured out what's coming next yet. And I want to be absolutely sure what I'm choosing to study. And that's the biggest question for me, is like, as much as I love learning and I love school, I don't actually know what I would go back for. I could make an entire video on that, and I might on TikTok if you leave a comment and want to know, because then I will do that for you. That's not actually the topic that I wanted to talk about. A lot of people follow up their undergrad degree with a master's or some sort of school program right away. I took a course last summer, and that was part of the reason I didn't want to deal with this uncertainty. And although that course was helpful for my career and I learned a lot from it, it was a instantaneous decision to help me cope with having so much free time and not knowing what's coming next. A lot of people do this. They rush right back into school so they don't ever have to ask themselves, what do I actually want? And even worse, they delay taking action on it. Listen, I'm not trying to give anyone super specific advice, but if you are unsure about going back to school, do not waste your time, money, and energy going back unless you are 100% sure you want to. You've wanted to be a dentist this whole time, put your energy into being a dentist. But if you're having conflicting feelings about what you want to do in the future, listen, you will not regret it. In fact, you will regret not listening to yourself, because you always regret the things you don't do and not the things you do. So if you are having mixed feelings, just sit on them. You're better off wasting 6 months or a year or 2 or 5 than wasting $100,000 or more on a degree you don't actually need or a career you don't actually want. I sometimes miss learning a lot, and I sometimes miss being a student and studying and definitely acing my exams. But one of the ways I've been replacing learning in my life is by actually investing in my interests and hobbies. There's so many things I want to do. Now that I have more clarity on what I want my life to look like, and I have a more big picture idea of my career, this has allowed me to dive dive deeper into topics I'm already interested in. I also revisited a lot of things from my childhood that I used to like, and this is really important because I feel like you feel very lost in post-grad. I think one of the most important things is while you're trying to figure out what you want from life, you kind of have to come back home to your most authentic self to get that clarity. And I think doing things from your childhood that you used to love really helps you feel like your most authentic self. I've been spending way more time outside. I've been watching Disney movies. I've really been romanticizing my life. I've been trying to have as much fun as possible and just embrace my inner child because that has helped me so much in the past. And I know it has helped me going forward because that was one of the things that helped me get clarity, was thinking about what I loved as a child. And that helped me see the big picture for my career and helped me form my top 10 goals for this era of my life and going forward into the future. I think when you're feeling lost during post-grad, the most important thing to remember is that you just want to be the most authentic version of yourself. You want to fully accept yourself and realize what you want and then start taking action on it so that you can live that dream life. I've said it so many times throughout this video, but it takes time to come to those epiphanies and gain clarity on what you want, but also to have the courage to actually go after it. And it can be hard, but if you always try to focus on being the most authentic version of you, you will learn to know your worth and not only allow yourself to want that dream life, but you'll actually start creating it through baby steps too. And I've talked about it so many times through the video how important it is to have that clarity, but here are some extra things you can do to start getting more clarity and connect with the most authentic version of you. You can obviously keep journaling. I really hope that you guys love that journaling session we did today. I feel like I journal in every video. I journal every day, and I found the most useful way to use journaling is to ask yourself questions that you almost don't want to ask, or you can get ideas from Pinterest, or there's a lot of journal TikTokers that have really good prompts. But just ask yourself the tough questions. And even if you don't have an answer, or you don't have a perfect answer or the right answer, or it actually takes a few days for you to really figure it out in your head, allow yourself the time to do that, because that is going to be how you get clarity. And the more times you ask yourself those tough questions and you make yourself respond via journaling, the more clarity you are going to get. It's one of the best methods for gaining clarity on what you want in life. Another thing you can do that I've mentioned so many times in my reset vlogs is trying out the activations app. I absolutely love it. It is absolutely amazing. The way Mimi Bouchard guides the activations is very empowering, and she also asks you those tough questions. So you could be journaling while listening to Mimi Bouchard, or you could just be thinking about these things consciously while you're doing various tasks such as driving, getting ready, walking. The more you focus on what that dream life looks like, the more you'll start to show up as the version of you not only will have that life, but is actually capable of creating it. We talked about this a lot earlier, so I'm not going to ramble on too much, but spending time alone, think back to all the different ways that spending time alone can actually be good for you. Those times when you're by yourself and your mind wanders are going to tell you what you really think about your life and where you're at and where you want to go. A little bit contradictory, but spend time with people or consume content from content creators who inspire you. You are who you hang out with, so try to surround yourself physically and even on your own with content that inspires you and pushes you to be the person you want to be and to have the life that you want to have. And another thing we talked about is doing things from your childhood or doing things that past versions of you love. When you revisit things from your past that you loved or do things to heal your inner child, this is so authentic, and it also is a form of self-love because you not only accept that version of you, but you can see how you've grown and you start to love the past version of you more and the present version of you, which will also help you love and care for that future version of you that you're crafting. All these things will help you come back to your most authentic self and will help you start creating that dream life right now. I think my biggest takeaway that I'm trying to get to in this video is post-grad is hard, but because it is so hard, because you're really confronted with uncertainty and so much of your life changing and truly confronting how you are going to go about not only the next chapter of your life, but the rest of your life as an adult. It can be so daunting, but the opportunity is in A, getting to choose exactly what you want for your life, and B, getting to grow because of it. I think a lot of people underestimate how much smarter they are when they've graduated from school. You've learned how to do so many things you had no clue how to do before, and you not only did them, you did them well. So give yourself a little credit. You're gonna navigate this chapter fine. You just need to get used to it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys love this video. I put a lot of effort into scripting it it and kind of going in a different direction. I feel like I have so much wisdom on post-grad because I've been doing a lot of reflecting this year and really coming home to my truest, most authentic self. And I feel like that has been key in helping me realize what I really want out of life. What does my dream life look like? What are my top 10 goals right now that I'm working on every single day? And I've gotten so much clarity and have had so many epiphanies in this last year. And I feel like I've never been more aligned and on track in my life. And even if what I'm doing doesn't align with everyone else, it doesn't matter because I know what I'm doing for me feels so right and intentional. And I really hope that you guys get there too. Any feedback you have, I would appreciate if you left it in the comments because that would help me out so much. And don't forget to subscribe because you don't want to miss out on taking the actual steps to build your dream life together in our 20s every single week. And on that note, I will see you guys next week.
You know